Chapter 15. Dreams Become Manifesti. Cali, Dak, Teak, and Ruto had just lived through the most insane and outlandish 3 months of their lives. But there was one more surprise in store for them. As suddenly as it appeared, the Manifesti movement vanished. Lawmakers going to work in the morning found a note pinned to the front door of the Alari National Congress building. All it said was, "The Manifesti Convolution is dissolved." It was the biggest mystery in the galaxy. What few political parties survived the revolution regained power and took control of the newly created Alari government. An unspoken agreement was made to continue using the institutions created by the Manifesti, mainly because they were better than the ones made by the Holy Favarian Empire. While the organization was gone, its members remained. None of the activists could offer a good explanation for the Manifesti's sudden disappearance. The lucrative collective gave up their power as quickly and as easily as they had seized it. Attendance at museums and art galleries was higher than ever, but the public's interest had moved on from the Manifesti itself. After a few confused days, a post-revolutionary government came to power, and a new presidium was elected. Gar and Mocha lost their presidium seat and became ordinary citizens once more, having secured the record for shortest reign of an interstellar ruler in history. The new presidium decided to uphold most, if not all, of the policies and decisions of the Manifesti, including the show trial judgment against Vaki Dejir's descendants. Cali was living in Dak's apartment in Varnala when the government agents came to see her. "We have good news and bad news," one of the agents said. "First, the bad news. You have been ordered to forfeit all of your financial assets by the ANC." Cali knew this was coming, and, despite Ruto's protests, she allowed the government to seize all of the money in her accounts. Cali was destitute for about 2 minutes while the agent delivered the good news. "You should know that during the revolution, the government outlawed forced marriage and set up a fund to support victims of said crime," the agent explained. "Van Beeren was convicted and sentenced for attempting to marry you by force. As part of his punishment, we have seized a fraction of the Beeren family fortune, and it will be given to you as compensation." In the aftermath of the revolution, life slowly started to return to normal for most Alari. Cali and her friends took a little longer to acclimate. Government agents debriefed them. Cali and friends told everything they knew about the theft of the Stellaris. Then, high-ranking officers from the Alari Armed Forces came to debrief them. Cali, Ruto, Dak, and Teak told the same story. Finally, professional interrogators from the AAF Special Forces came to talk about the theft with Cali and friends. Once more, she told the story of the past 3 months. This time, Cali asked exactly where the starship Stellaris was. "I'm sorry, we can't tell you that," the Special Forces soldier said. "You're not a member of the AAF. None of you are." Thankfully, the Special Forces were able to help Cali, Dak, Teak, and Ruto do all of the legal paperwork that would allow them to renounce their commissions in the Imperial military and reclaim their Alari citizenship. Cali could not help but notice that, starting around this point, Dak's younger sister Mocha started following her all over the place. Mocha was eternally curious about whatever Cali was up to. Mocha moved into Dak's apartment, using the long-awaited reunion with her older brother as an excuse to hang out with Cali. "Your girlfriend is so cool," Mocha told Dak. "Do the two of you do awesome stuff like this all the time?" Over the next few days, Cali and Dak prepared for a trip to Ratia. Cali was going to help the Alari government dig up and seize the wreck of the pirate ship Blind Fury. Mocha stayed near her for the entire time, and Cali got to know the youngster who had very briefly ruled the state of Alaria. Mocha Jabassim was, simply put, an adventurous thrill-seeker. She actively sought out new and novel experiences and loved meeting with people who did interesting things, like steal a warship. Mocha had more scars on her arms and legs than the average 15-year-old girl. According to Dak, they were souvenirs from Mocha's solo hiking trip into the wilderness. Dak, Cali, Mocha, Teak, and Ruto all traveled to Radia together. It was a good thing they did. As soon as they arrived in Cali's hometown, the first thing they saw was a massive team of government workers digging up the grassy hill behind the new Dakara family ranch. Cali's parents were there, and as soon as they spotted Cali, they got hostile. Dak, Mocha, Teak, and Ruto closed ranks around Cali, shielding her from Rin and Eris's wrath as they made a very public display of disowning their daughter and voicing their newfound hatred for her. Behind Rin, an AAF frigate used a tractor beam to lift a 300-year-old hulk of metal out of the ground. Mocha jumped for joy at the sight of the starship Blind Fury and asked the workers if she could look around inside of it. Teak, to the surprise of no one, asked to join her. Mocha is going to be like Teak when she's older, Ruto commented. Mark my words. The value of the treasures contained within the Blind Fury was estimated to be almost equal to the economy of the Kel Azan Republic. Alaria would be elevated to the status of a wealthy economic superpower. Thanks to the ruling from the show trial, most of the money would go toward reparations for the victims of Vaki Dajir. This decision had wide-reaching positive consequences. The Alari people quickly grew to support the post-revolutionary government. Elsewhere, Alari built up trust and goodwill with other spacefaring nations. About a week after the Manifesti movement died out, the state of Alaria was formally accepted into the Interstellar Treaty Organization. Alongside her new allies, Alaria now had the ability to confront the Galactic Imperium in a full-scale war. Thankfully, such a conflict was not going to happen soon. There were other concerns. The Favarians were still in the midst of their own civil war, fighting for control of the Celestial Throne. It was not the only such conflict. About a month after Cali and her friends settled down to start their new lives on Ratia, the first wave of human refugees arrived. They brought word of a terrible conflict on Arcadia. Two factions of humans were doing battle for control of the human reservation in a bloody civil war. One side wanted to build an alliance with the state of Alaria. The other side wanted to join the Galactic Imperium. The death toll was catastrophic. News of this disaster made Cali feel as though her heart was breaking. One day, Cali, Mocha, and Ruto were doing volunteer work at the Ratia spaceport. They were helping human refugees move from their starships to temporary housing. Ruto was talking to a group of Chinese women when she spotted an old man among their number. Ruto called Cali over. "This guy speaks Alari," Ruto said. "Says he met one of us in Tianjin. Didn't you say you were there?" Cali ran over to the old man, and when she realized who he was, her jaw dropped. "No way!" Cali gasped. "Li Jihao, it's you!" The Chinese soothsayer greeted Cali with a warm smile. Mocha let the old man lean on her shoulder as the Alari led Jihao and his supporters out of the spaceport. "You look different," said Jihao, "like you have been through interesting times." "Cali went on an adventure," Mocha butted in. "She stole a starship and flew it across the galaxy." My, that is interesting," said Jihao. "And you seem to have come out on the other side for the better. My congratulations." "I guess that fortune you told me all those years ago came true," Cali laughed. "At the end, I actually did have to confront my family's past in a way. But you could have said my year of hell was going to end with a show trial run by clowns. That would have been nice to see coming." Jihao stopped walking. He tilted his head at Cali, regarding her with a disappointed look. Everyone paused in their tracks to look at him. "Dear child, you seem to have misinterpreted my words," Jaiho said. Cali's smile faded. "When I told you you would face a year of hell, I meant every word," Jaiho said. "I can see in your eyes, in the way you talk and carry yourself, that this event has not yet come to pass. Remember what I said. You will stand at the center of a terrible crisis and be tested by all around you. Your trial has not yet begun." For weeks, Cali mulled over Jaiho's words in her mind. She absent-mindedly contributed to the reconstruction of her family farm, lost in thought the entire time. Dak and his siblings watched Cali with concern in their eyes. Ruto and Teak regularly visited to make sure she was okay. Finally, on a cold winter morning about 7 months after the trial of Vaki Dejir, Cali and her friends were gathered in the human refugee camp. Alongside about 400 humans, they watched a holographic news report being displayed in the central courtyard for all to see. The holographic reporter said, "The civil war on Arcadia has finally come to an end after a negotiated ceasefire between the imperialist and pro-democracy factions. The status quo will be maintained as the pro-democracy faction will remain in full control of the Arcadian government. This result is being celebrated in the free parts of the galaxy, while the Galactic Empress has issued a statement affirming both her disappointment and willingness to abide by the ceasefire agreement. Human refugees have already begun to return to Arcadia. The planet is in desperate need of able-bodied workers, as preliminary estimates show roughly 70% of the adult male population has been killed over the course of this conflict. The Into Military Alliance has announced its intention to deploy a multi-species peacekeeping force to Arcadia with the mission of helping the planet rebuild." In the camp, all of the humans began to celebrate, finally able to go home. Cali, Ruto, Dak, Gar, Mocha, and Teak joined in. They drank, danced, and sang with the humans until the sun rose. Mocha found a human teenager and kissed him. Teak and Ruto got up on the stage and joined the humans in a rousing chorus of their national anthem, Ode to Joy. Gar ran into town and came back with even more alcoholic drinks. Cali and Dak danced with the other humans while music blared loudly. Eventually, the morning arrived. Humans began to pack up, eager to return to their surrogate homeworld. Cali and her friends broke away and returned to the Dakara farm. They sat down on the hilltop that once concealed the pirate ship Blind Fury and took a moment to rest. "It's over, huh?" Ruto said. "The humans are going to leave, we'll have our planet to ourselves again, and I guess we're going to go back to our normal lives. Whatever normal happens to be." "Yeah, I'm going to be moving to the other side of the planet soon," Teak said. "I met a girl, one of the volunteers. We're going to get married." "That makes 2 of us," Dak said. "Cali and I were talking about making it official sooner or later. We just haven't picked a time." Mocha, naturally, immediately started demanding to have a role in the wedding ceremony. Cali said this would be perfectly fine with her, since Mocha and Dak were siblings. Then she turned to Dak. "Actually, I wanted to say something about that, Dak. I want the wedding to be soon. I'm thinking about a life change." Everyone looked at Cali. She sat up and brought her knees to her chest. "When I was living on Arcadia, I fell in love with that place," Cali said. "The people, the culture. It really hurts to know it was all destroyed." Dak put a hand on Cali's shoulder. "You want to join that new peacekeeping mission, don't you?" he said. "Was I obvious?" Everyone laughed. Dak took Cali's hand and gently squeezed it. "Let me go with you," he said. "As soon as we're married, we'll go together. How does that sound?" Cali hugged Dak and kissed him. "That's all I ever wanted." The 6 friends settled down to take in the morning sunlight. Mocha tried to ask if she could become a peacekeeper as well, but everyone reminded her that she was too young. Ruto told her to relax and enjoy this moment, since it was now going to be the calm between two separate adventures. Cali knew the year of hell was still ahead of her, but for the first time, she felt as though nothing could beat her. She had the best friends she could ever ask for, and the best man she had ever been with. She was ready for anything. The end. This is Macavity 116. We hope you've enjoyed this unabridged production of Grand Theft Stellaris, narrated by the author. This audio program was produced in 2024. Grand Theft Stellaris was written by Macavity 116, copyright 2023. Stellaris was developed and published by Paradox Interactive, copyright 2016.